Hello you lot, Miller Corner here, welcome back once again. And if you're anything like me, you don't like to drive in silence. Even if you've got a mad sounding exhaust, you like to listen to something, bit of music, podcast, audiobook, something like that, just adds a bit of ambience to a nice drive. However, if you're also anything like me, you don't own a modern car with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay and a nice big touchscreen unit for your Spotify and whatever you want to listen to. You've got an old nugget with a probably pretty crap standard radio. And that problem only gets worse if you own a classic car like my Mercedes W123 here, because whereas some fairly new retro cars, you can either fit a more modern head unit in it or even a double DIN unit, or you can get an adapter to put a new modern double DIN touchscreen thing in. A classic car, you usually can't do that. And a lot of them, particularly really old ones, have got weird shaped dashboards with bespoke proprietary shaped and sized radios. That means you basically have to stick with the original one or go without. You can't put a modern thing in there. So I think I may have found the solution for people who want modern tech in their old car, and it's this. This is the Ohrex F760W, and this promises to effectively create a modern head unit touchscreen type thing for your car. You can do Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you can do Maps, you can do Spotify, you can even integrate it with things like Siri and take phone calls off of it, but you use your car's existing radio head unit, and this doesn't require you butchering the dash or cutting it up or anything like that. They did send me this to review. They got in touch and asked if I wanted to review it, but I'm not being sponsored, I'm not being paid, and I can say what I like about this. So if I don't like it, if I think it's crap, if it doesn't work properly, you will find out about it. But if you do like it, conversely, there should be a nice little link in the description for you to go and buy one of these for yourself, and there might even be a cheeky discount code for you. Right, here's the box. I'm filming this upside down, so do bear with me the fact the box is upside down for you. Pop it open, and immediately we've got the Ohrex unit itself, and that looks really nice actually. Touchscreen thing, looks like an iPad type thing, and it's got speakers in the back and this kind of shape cut into it here for the mount. Suction mount for the windscreen of your car, so you don't have to glue it down or anything like that. You can see a cigarette lighter power adapter, some sort of adapter for a reversing camera I'm told, and I believe there is also, yes, there's a clippy mount thing bracket there, and there's your instruction manual. So in short, everything a growing boy needs to get this working. I'm a growing boy because I do like cake, so let's get in the car and see how we mount it. Okie dokie then, I've liberated the Ohrex unit itself from the rustly plastic bag, because I know cameras don't like rustly plastic bags. There's our little mount thing. We've got our suction-y mount thing here, so I'm going to put that... I might suction-y mount my GoPro a bit better first. Stand by. Take the plasticky film off of this. I'm sure many of you find this satisfying. I am among you. That was lovely. Okay, that is on. Lovely. Mount is tight, and I've managed to squat it down on top of the air vents so we're not going to get any chatter. Okay. What is that? There's a behind the scenes cock up for you. My mic fluffy fell off and landed in my cup of coffee. Great. Cigarette lighter power thing here. I do hope you can see everything in the back. Two little USB things on the end of the cigarette lighter plug. So you've actually gained two USB plugs for losing your fag lighter. So every cloud and all that. Right, that's plugged in, that's mounted. That was actually very easy. I don't know how this has come across in the edit, but actually that was mounted quite easily. Turn the ignition on. Okay, that's upside down. So I've updated Android Auto on my phone because that was wildly out of date. And now it is actually showing on the screen there, integrated, all the apps I've got on my phone that are compatible with Android Auto. And if you look very closely, you can actually see my background from my phone is being mirrored on the screen there. Look, it's Super Seicento. Woo! Now, the first impressions I've got is it's a very nice looking device. It looks really cool. The screen is fairly responsive. It's not lightning fast, if I'm honest. It doesn't feel as slick as using your phone, but it is doing this, don't forget, over a data connection onto your phone. And completely transparent here, I live in an awful, awful area for data connection. My internet speeds are very, very slow, so don't be alarmed if this is the kind of refresh rate you're going to get. If you live in an area with decent phone signal, or if you're on a really good network, you're going to get better than this. Now we know this can mirror my phone, the other thing we need to do is connect it to the radio. So what we have to do is set a transmission frequency for this to output, and then I have to do that so it turns it on. And don't forget, this isn't receiving anything, this is transmitting it. So what you do is you'll put this on an FM frequency that's not occupied, then you tune your car's radio into it. So in theory, if I find 89.5 FM, my car's radio will find it because the Merc has got a head unit in it. Right, okay, so it's found 89.5. Let's go for an episode of Auto Alex, shall we? So I've just been listening to that podcast.
We are in Big Pete.
That is working. We've got Auto Alex talking about Big Pete and doubtless some very tasteful motor vehicles. That actually sounds really decent. We've got this connected, so it's worth remembering I've got a standard head unit in the Merc now, and that is tuned into the frequency this is outputting. I am noticing, I'll be entirely transparent with you, there did sound to be a little bit of drone there. If I go to YouTube Music once again, because we can't play anything music-wise, because it's copyrighted, of course. If you just listen very, very carefully, in fact, I'm even going to hold my mic next to the radio speaker so you can get a feel for this.
Did you?
That's not what you were saying.
What?
That's not what you were saying. You said you got no sleep last night.
I didn't get any sleep.
He said 3 hours sleep because he was sharing with a very sexy man called Tommy.
So you might be able to hear there is that slight drone, and actually, even if I just shut up now with nothing playing, there does appear to be a bit of drone, sort of buzzing noise, and that carries on when you're listening to stuff. So I'm now wondering, is that to do with the really low radio frequency we're on? Press this button in the bottom right, it goes to split screen. So if I do that, I've got on Google Maps, so you can have that there, and that is Waxworks, who did the amazing polishing work on the Seicento. It does look brilliant, by the way. And you can have that in there, and then if I press the button in the bottom right, it does things like a phone will do. It does picture-in-picture, so I can then have my Google Maps there and my Apple CarPlay or Android Auto Music there. I can go through my YouTube Music, and it's all working in perfect tandem, it must be said. And I can even, if I click on my phone, dial numbers from it. Look, I can do that. There's a bit of ELO because I'm classy. So I think what I need to do is have a bit of a play with this and see what it's capable of. And crucially, I'm going to spend some time using it. My first impressions are a bit mixed. It feels like quite a high quality thing. That's quite nice. I need to tighten the mount up there. But it feels quite nice, feels high quality, and it responds reasonably well. It's never sort of missed a touch, or not very often, but it's not razor sharp, so that's worth thinking about. The date's right, the clock's right, the sound appears to be right. You can do Bluetooth music. If you've just got music on your phone, you can do that as well. You can go onto different apps, and you can put, also, it's worth noting, this doesn't just do phone stuff. You can put an SD card in the back of it. If you've got a reversing camera, you can press that, and that will allow you to see out of the reversing camera. I don't, obviously, so we won't worry about that. It's got a clock. You can adjust your EQ on there as well. Fairly impressed on first impressions. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to live with this for a few days. I'm going to try it out. I'm going to use it purely. I'm not going to use anything but this to listen to music, do what I'm doing while I'm driving, and I'll report back with my first impressions. Without further ado, cue some fancy graphics, and I'll report back. So it's been just over a week since I put the Ohrex screen in the Mercedes, and every day I've driven this car, I've used only this for my entertainment. I've had my music on it, I've had my maps on it, podcasts, all that kind of stuff, to really get a feel for if this little thing is any good. First of all, a point of housekeeping. That sort of distortion, buzzing, crackling noise I got when I first set this thing up was down to the really, really low radio frequency that I had it tuned to output. It turns out if you put it up a frequency, so sort of 92.7, something like that, the next one up in the menu, you lose the distortion entirely. So if you do get that noise with one of these things, just bring the frequency up a little bit higher. The really low ones do tend to have some issues anyway. I know that from personal experience. Let's start with what I don't like. And there are a few things. I'm allowed to be transparent about this. First of all, the mount. It's a really simple thing. It's very adjustable. You've got a swiveling ball head on it. You've got the arm you can move up and down and lock it in place. You've got lots of adjustment on it. To be honest though, that is the only bit of this that feels low quality. The actual screen feels really nice. It's got a nice kind of sturdy feel to it. It's nice plastic. This is a good quality thing, but the mount feels a bit cheap and nasty. It does wobble a bit. It doesn't actually rattle or anything, but it's just not exceptionally tight. And depending on the shape of your dashboard and where you want to mount it, what you want to do with it, you might not be able to get the screen to settle. It is a little bit laggy. That thing that I said about maybe it's to do with the fact it's a phone connection and I've got very poor phone signal around where I live is not the case. I've tried this in all kinds of places with really, really good phone connections. I've tried a couple of different phones with it as well. There is still that little bit of latency and lag in all the menus, and indeed sometimes when you tap a button, sometimes it won't work first time, or it will take a second to actually do anything. It's never frozen, it's never crashed or anything like that, and I genuinely don't think it would, but it's not instantly responsive. If you're expecting something that's as sharp as what you get in a lot of brand new cars, or indeed like using your phone, you're not quite going to get it with this. But on the other hand, there's a lot I really do like about this thing. The sound it outputs, obviously you Bluetooth your phone to it and then your car's radio finds it on a frequency, is really, really good quality. It's easily as good as listening to a CD, remember those kids? The sound quality this puts out is genuinely really, really impressive. The screen itself is lovely as well. It's really crisp, really sharp, really bright. It's lovely quality. Actually, it just works really well. as well. You can do split screen, you can do maps on one side, you can do your music, your Spotify, your podcast, whatever you want, and it all works perfectly. The map live updates, provided you've got the phone signal for it, and you can have it speak the instructions to you through the speakers in the back or through the radio, and it all works really, really well. Genuinely, I've never had a moment where I've regretted using this for what it aims to do, which is to add split screen capabilities, to add CarPlay or Android Auto to your old car with a basic radio. This thing actually works really, really well. The Ohrex is a genuinely impressive bit of kit, particularly because you can use this discount code to get a bit of money off as well. So actually take that into account, and the Ohrex really is a good deal. It's a genuinely nice device that's high quality, it works well, and it does what it sets out to do. I think these kind of devices will be seen a lot more in classic cars like this, where you can't graft a doubled-in head unit into it. You have to rely on an auxiliary device like this. So I think this is a really nice device, and frankly, if what you've seen in this video appeals to you, if you can see yourself getting some use out of it, click the link in the description below and do use my discount code as well, because then you can get it for a great deal. Overall, I'd say if you've got a classic car but you want modern technology, the Ohrex screen really is hard to beat. So as ever, thanks very much for watching everybody, and have a brilliant rest of your day. Catch you soon, and have a good one.